everyone, this is Alyssa with the BlueLink team, and in this video I'm going to show you how to remove pins and fix structures using the spot healing and clone stamp tools in Photoshop CS6. So both of these tools can be found in the left-hand menu. The spot healing tool is the one that looks like a band-aid, and then below it, this stamp is the clone stamp tool. So when you're removing pins, I always start out with a spot healing brush. This tool automatically chooses where your selection comes from, so it can be a little less precise, but it's much less time consuming and can look a bit more natural than the clone stamp does. I'm going to right click and set my brush size. I like to make it so the brush is about the same size or maybe a little bigger than the object I'm trying to cover. In my experience, that just helps the tool work a little better. I like to leave the hardness on the low side to help the edges of the area I'm changing blend in just a little bit better. So to use the spot healer, all you have to do is click and drag over the area that you want to change. And as you can see, sometimes it pulls from an area that doesn't quite fit the edits you're trying to make. So I'm going to hit Command Z to undo it, and I'm going to make my brush size a little bit smaller and try again. Alright, so that looks a bit better now, and we can go over the area a few times to help the area blend in. And I'm going to do this again over here. I'm not really liking how this one's looking, so I'm going to go ahead and do Command Option and just hit Z until all of the edits that I made on that part are gone. So instead of working with the spot healing tool again, I'm just going to go ahead and switch over to the clone stamp. So with this tool, you get to pick exactly where you want the selection to come from, so it can be much more specific to what you're trying to accomplish. I'm going to right click again to select my size. Again, about the same size as what I want to cover up and keep my hardness relatively low. To choose your selection with the stamp, just hold Option on the Mac keyboard and click on the area that you want to draw from. As you move away from the area you want to stamp from, you can see that the color will be stamped inside the tool. So I'm going to actually make this a bit smaller because I don't want these lighter areas up here in my stamp. As I click to stamp over the area, you can see that my opacity is low, so I'm going to go up here and put it back to 100%. When I come back down, I just click over the image where I want to stamp my selection. This plus sign, back over where I took my selection from, is going to show you where the tool is pulling the stamp from. So once you make the first stamp, the selection will move as you move your mouse, keeping the same distance between the 2 points. So as I'm working, I like to select multiple areas to pull from to help keep from looking repetitive, like a pattern is starting to form. As you can see, I've covered a bit of this artery here, so I'm going to make my brush a little smaller and select some of this brighter region and then go up and fix that. If you need to change the angle of your stamp tool, clicking this folder icon with the stamp on it will open the clone stamp menu. So I'm going to make my brush size a little bigger and select this area where you can obviously see when the angle changes. So this box is what controls the angle. I'm going to type in just like 50 degrees and hit enter. Now if I wanted to, I could stamp this over the side just like that. To reset the angle after you're done, just hit this arrow right next to the box. I'm going to continue to use the stamp tool to cover this red pin with a bit of a smaller brush. When you're using the stamp tool, you can hold and drag the brush and the selection will continue to move with you, but make sure you notice that the stamp tool doesn't stamp edits made within the same movements. See that once I get far enough over, the pin is now what's being stamped rather than the tissue coloring that I put over it. I'm going to undo that last edit and change my brush size just a little and continue to cover up this pin. You might find yourself changing your brush size quite a bit as you work, and that's perfectly okay. I'm going to come in with the healing tool and go over this area to help it look a little less repetitive. Often you'll find that with edits like these, a combination of spot healing and clone stamping work the best. And then you can see as we zoom out, it's like the pins were never there. One of the other things we frequently do with the stamp and healing tools is healing structures that have been torn or damaged in some way. So in this photo, we're going to fix this tear in the aorta. I'm going to start out healing with the spot tool. When I get to this bit on the edge, it's just not working as well, so I'm going to switch over to the stamp tool. I'm going to start by just fixing the tear, and then use some of this more shadowy region to get rid of a little bit of it. Oh, wow. This looks a little strange to leave like this, so what I'm going to do is increase the hardness to get a more defined stamp, and then I'm going to decrease the brush size just a little bit. We can go in and directly copy the edge from anywhere where the color is the same. I'm going to use my rotation tool to get the angles to line up correctly. Let's say this will be about a -5-degree rotation. Then we can reset again and keep using the stamp tool to fill in these darker spaces and fix this area down here. Then we can zoom out and see that the tear is gone. That wraps up this step in the BlueLink editing process. Thanks for watching, and feel free to check out our channel for more tutorials and anatomy-based content.